Okay, we'll go ahead and get this started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is Teens Create, part of our 2020 summer reading series of Imagine Your Story. And in this series, we will present you with physical crafts and digital projects that you can participate in at home. And today we have a really exciting one. We have a special guest with us today, Hayley Burson, who is an Instagram and TikTok phenomenon. She is here today to share some affordable ways that you can participate in cosplay at home. This is Cosplay on a Dime with my dear friend, Hayley Burson, a librarian in North Carolina. Welcome, Hayley. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim, for having me. I'm
I
so
am so excited to have you. I'm sorry to speak over you.
no,
And
yeah,
you're rocking your Wonder Woman headpiece already. That looks fantastic.
it is. It's very fun, but it's also very easy. So I'm excited to
Hey,
share.
that's what this is all about. So thanks so much for sharing some affordable ways that we can do cosplay at home. As a starter, why don't you tell us a little about you and what cosplay is, in case we have people watching that don't know what the phenomenon is.
Oh, I'll be so happy to. So, like Jim said, I am a teen librarian. I work at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library at the University City branch. So, Jim and I met when he was in grad school, and we met through the library system and stayed friends.
Librarian
So
friends are librarian friends forever.
That's right. So I've been cosplaying along with my husband since 2015. I love geek culture. I love Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel. I love it all. Lord of the Rings. And so the way we got into cosplay was just we were inspired after, in 2015 we were inspired one Halloween to actually like make costumes, and then we found like this love for sewing and making stuff, and then it's just kind of kept growing. And then so one thing I really love to do with cosplay is I love to make props, and I love to use recycled materials because it's cheap.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and it's better for the environment, and it's just you. I just love the idea of like turning something from one thing into another. It's really cool. um my husband is really good with sewing machine. He's actually going to be part of your series too, teaching how to do some sewing stuff too.
Yes, he is. A great plug for a future event. We'll have an intro to sewing class with Michael Burson later this month.
Yay. So yeah, what is cosplay? It's just it stands for costume play.
Okay,
So it's kind of like the idea of Halloween all year round.
love it. Favorite
Yes.
holiday.
Yes, I always loved Halloween. I loved dressing up, and it's not fair that you can only do it once a year. So you don't have to. You can do it all year. A lot of cosplay before we were all put in quarantine and COVID-19, a lot of it was going to conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now it's kind of changed in a sense where a lot of people are doing more TikToks and doing more Instagram, and it's kind of like come like an online community. It's been an online community too, but it's now more than ever. It's like a way to connect with your friends. Like I've had friends do Zoom meetings together in cosplay, like having your own convention. Like you don't need to go anywhere for it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Make it affordable in different ways other than just the materials that you're using.
Yeah, and then this is we're in our sewing room right now, and there's a lot of fabric here. But one thing I've been inspired to do in cosplay while we're in quarantine, while we've been home, is to go through the extra scraps of fabric that we have, and instead of going out and buy something that might be like perfect, it's like using something that might not be as perfect, but you're saving money. It's like I said, it's helping the environment. So that's one thing that we were kind of focusing on during the quarantine. Um, and how do I become a cosplayer?
Yes, how did you become a cosplayer, Hayley?
Um, it's like there's no initiation. Like you just start doing it.
Sure. And I
Yeah,
don't think there's any right way to do it.
there's no right way. It's like it's all about honoring a character that you enjoy. Like I love Harry Potter characters. My favorite Harry Potter character is Lovegood, and so like I'm kind of going into some of my stuff with me, but like it's it's this cool feeling of embodying a character and just like I made all this. It's super cool. And like another thing too is you don't have to make it. Like if you prefer buying a costume, like it's perfectly fine. There's no rules. It's the only rules is like be respected.
Yes,
And
respect is heavy in the cosplay
yeah,
community, but I
exactly.
love how it can transcend gender or skin color or within reason. But it's
Yeah,
there are ways to respect the community and to respect the characters that you're personaing.
exactly. Yeah, it's like kind of like it's like what about like this character from this movie or this book like inspires you? Like Wonder Woman inspires me a lot, so that's why I chose a Wonder Woman craft today. So it there's if you want to be a cosplayer, you're a cosplayer. That's all it is. And is cosplay expensive? It can be.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be. It just depends on your budget and how you want to do it. That kind of leads into the coming slide, so I kind of want to get into that because I feel like a lot of the times I'm like when I especially when I work at my library and I talk to my teen community about like cosplay, they're like, well, I can't do it, it's too expensive. And there's a lot of ways around like financial barriers that you can do for cosplay. Like you don't have to go out and buy like a perfect screen accurate perfect costume. Like there's you don't have to. Like as long as you are embodying the spirit of the character, that's all it is. So I love this slide because this is actual movie props and what they use to use these props, and these are from the actual movies. Like I love the you can see the teal razor on the left. That was something from Star Wars that they just painted gray and then added some little bits and bobs to, and it became a communication device. And it's a razor. Like that was trash, you
Thank
know.
you, Gillette.
A Gillette razor. And then yeah, like in Star Trek, like that wireless headset was just one of those little like earpieces, and they like. So I think that's so cool. I think even in movies, they're trying to save as much money as possible. The original lightsaber for Luke Skywalker was from an old camera. Like,
Never
um,
knew that.
it's so cool because it's like a way of innovation instead of just like going out and buy the thing. It's like how do I turn what I have into something to something else, like trash.
Definitely.
Love it. And then yeah, and then in Ghostbusters they used a shoe polisher PK meter. I just think that's so cool. Um, and then yeah, so like how do you find materials like cheaply? So on the right is a picture of Gilderoy Lockhart from the Harry Potter movies, and then his actual cape was made from curtains. So I personally love shopping at thrift stores. Um, there's always sheets,
Hmm.
table runners, curtains, be like 99 cents. And it'll usually be like at least 3 to 4 yards of fabric. So if you needed like something red, like I would check your thrift stores and see if you can find something that could substitute instead of going to straight to a fabric store. It's like look around at your thrift stores and see if you can find something that is very similar. Of course, if you can't find anything at a thrift store and you need to buy fabric, which I've been there tons and tons of times, Hobby Lobby always has a 40% off coupon or some sort of coupon, and same with Joann's. It's like they usually always have a coupon. So yeah, always check and see if you can get any sort of discount before you go out and spend a lot of money. um, so like kind of going back to the thrift store thing, it's if you're not sewing, if you're not working with fabric and you want to like do an outfit, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a costume for it. You can alter something and then turn it into something else. So for example, I bought a white shirt and I needed it to be purple, and I wanted to get the right color purple. So I went out and bought a RIT dye, and then the instructions are on the back of the dye, and then I got my purple shirt that I wanted. So there's always like a way you can like cut things in a certain way. hot glue can be your friend if you need to. If
Yes,
you
it
don't,
can.
yes, it can. If you're not a fan of sewing, hot glue can be your best friend. And these are just some examples of like places that are like stores that you can look at. Poshmark and Amazon. Poshmark is it's like an online thrift store. If you have
Okay.
never heard of it, it's kind of like eBay. It is like like people will resell clothes and it's online. So if you can't get to a thrift store, it's typically more expensive than a thrift store. But if you wanted to look online, that's a good resource to look at. Amazon has fabric too. Uptown Cheesecake is like a local store to us, but it's kind of like a resale store, like a consignment store. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
And then like Goodwill, Salvation Army, any sort of like thrift stores or any local thrift stores are even better. And then yes, eBay just has really good, especially for like really hard to find like old items. I found like I found all sorts of stuff from eBay. Yeah, it's just it's all about like finding the right terms to use when you're searching, because it's one time I was looking for stars to go like on like a costume, and I
Okay.
wanted them to be like patches. So I had to figure out the right sort of terms to find like gold star patches, and then like get like a huge amount of results, and then you can keep filtering. And you know what? If you have problem with or troubles with that, you can ask your librarian because they are experts at helping
Finding
find
the right words.
absolutely.
I've
So
definitely had similar issues trying to find the right color word, the right shade of blue or green.
right, yeah, it's definitely something that we have learned a lot in school as to how to find the right terms to search for something. So
That can apply to
definitely
cosplay as well.
goes for cosplay as well. So definitely reach out to your librarian right there. Um, and then so these websites are really good if you're when you're planning your cosplays, because sometimes you just don't want to jump right into something. For me, I like to keep a Pinterest board. I keep a Pinterest board that's just reference pictures of the character I'm doing. Michael and I did a Doctor Strange costume, and then we had this Pinterest board of like every picture we could possibly find. So yeah, and then Thingiverse is a really cool website. If you can get access to a 3D printer, um,
Yes.
you said that's going to be in your future, which is cool.
Yeah, so 3D printing is a service that the Fayetteville Public Library will provide in our new Innovation Center. So once the new library building has opened, the new Innovation Center is opened and staffed and ready to go. We will have a whole lot of new technologies, including 3D printing, that this is something that you can definitely use because 3D printing can play such a big role in cosplay.
Yes, absolutely. I've had 3D printed props from my library system, like directly through the library. So Thingiverse is a website where people will upload their 3D print files for free. I've found like Star Wars props. I found like a Wonder Woman belt buckle that was just printed and then I painted. So it's 3D printing for cosplay is really, really cool. There's a lot out there. There's a website called the Replica Prop Forum where it's a lot of cosplayers and prop makers that will share very, very detailed pictures of the builds they have made and also like very detailed reference pictures. So it's a very helpful website. They have a website and they also have a Facebook group as well that shares a lot. Instructables is another really good website that has like step-by-step instructions. I'm going to go over my staff that I made for Ray for Star Wars in just a minute, but we got the tutorial from instructables.com and they've got a lot of good props.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then YouTube, oh, the best, just the best resource. You can, there's probably just about every sort of idea for cosplay is probably already out on YouTube. So that's always been a big help for us too. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about, this is one of my favorite props I've ever made, and it's Luna Lovegood. It's the scene. Well, in the book it's Order the Phoenix. In the movies it's Half-Blood Prince, but she wears a big lion hat to support her friends in Gryffindor. So here it is. So what?
Yes.
Yes, hello. So what I did is actually this is a backwards baseball cap, and that's what I built everything on top of. I kind of have like some photos right there to show, but the top is just some styrofoam balls and hot glue and just fabric wrapped around. And I I just kind of like played with it. I looked at a couple YouTube tutorials to kind of get an idea, but really it was just trial and error. This is all just felt. This was scrap fabric I already had. And then the back is just remnants of fabric and ribbon. So from like my standpoint, it wasn't a very expensive project for me, because a lot of this fabric I would go to like a local fabric store and look in their remnant bins.
Okay.
So it's like very random sizes. So if you need like a certain amount of fabric, it's not helpful in that way usually. But if you just need like scraps of fabric, it's very helpful to look through remnant bins, because they'll discount them heavily because they've already been cut. So yeah, so like most of this fabric was remnants. I just cut them up and like used ribbons that I had. And then yeah, so that's the line hat, and it kind of just sits on top of my head like that.
Amazing. It's such an impressive final project, but to see it broken down into these pictures, it just blows my mind how easy this looks.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's really cool about cosplay that I've especially learned, is that things that just looks like impossible to me, usually on YouTube or on online or social media like Instagram or Facebook, usually people are really good about showing their progress. Yes. And showing how they did something. And I think that's it really, really cool, because people like want people to learn to make cosplays. So I think if there's something that just seems out of your reach, the more you research, and just try it, you know? Yeah. Like, yeah, because there's some things like this I'd never made before, never made anything like it before. But I just kind of tried it and played with it and failed and succeeded. It's like, it's all trial and error. Sure. Yeah. And
not to discredit the amount of time that you put into this project. We're teaching people how to save money, not time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. It's like a Venn diagram. It's like the more money you spend, the less time you have to spend. The less money you have to spend, the more time you have to spend.
Sure.
Usually that's the case. Definitely.
Well, well worth the effort in this case.
Right. Yeah. It's very rewarding when you spent like a lot of time on it. I would say, like, don't wait till the night before of the event you're going to. I've made that mistake before, and it's no fun to lose sleep over it. So yeah. Yeah. Give yourself the time. Yeah. 100%. And then the last thing I wanted to show is this is the staff that I made for Star Wars. This is one of the first projects we made when we got into cosplay. The helmet I looked for and I couldn't find, so I don't know where it is at the moment, but
that's okay.
Yeah, the helmet the Kylo Ren helmet that my husband Michael has right there is actually made out of cardboard. And then it's sealed with plaster of Paris, and then on top of it is just painted. And then that little strip where the eyes are, it's like pantyhose. So yeah, that was a very inexpensive project, and we found the whole tutorial how to make it on Instructables.com.
Wow.
And then the staff, I definitely had that. This was made, I love how weird this is, because it's made out of a pole from Lowe's, like just a PVC pipe pole.
Okay.
And these are shower knobs. And this is just a little bit of foam, and then more foam, and then I'm trying to zoom in. This is just a wire wrapped around really tightly. These are some like little like leather bits, and then on here is a strap that we actually got from an army surplus store, which was very inexpensive, and then more wire, more fabric, and then on the bottom is just more shower knobs, bath knobs. So yeah, it's I think when we initially bought this project, it was like when we bought all this stuff for it, I think we spent $50, and it was one of the first projects we ever made, and we were like, $50, that's so expensive. No, and it really kind of like opened your eyes, like, to how, like, it's just the need for recycling materials. I'm sure if I looked harder, I could have found bath knobs at like a Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even think to look at that. So if you can find the places, if you can find the pieces you need for your prop secondhand, I say go for it. I say spend more time looking if saving money is more important to you. Yeah.
Sure.
I wish I did.
And you'd probably be surprised where you'd find like the right material.
Right. And it's craft foam. Like this type of craft foam, it's like 30 cents a sheet or something. It's so inexpensive, and it goes such a long way for cosplay. Yeah, so that's it for background, and if we want to, we can look at this Wonder Woman tiara.
Sure. We have a physical component, to a craft component of this workshop, and all the materials that we have are a template that you provided, and we have some here at the library. If anyone is watching this video after the fact and wants to make one of these, we have a limited supply here at the children's desk of the library. But you've made a template, a really simple Wonder Woman template for us. Did you make this, or did we find it elsewhere?
The video that's linked right there, it came from them.
Gotcha. The YouTube video provides this template. It's 2 pages, and I believe you have all your pieces pre-cut.
I do, yes.
And then I have a piece of cereal box that we're using as the cardboard base, and mine is from a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I got like the best box for this project.
Yeah, and this could not be any like less expensive, because it's only things I'm going to use for it is the cardboard that I've already pre-cut all the stuff out, glue stick, and then I have some paint. I have some gold paint, and then I have some black, just regular acrylic paint, which I'm going to use. The black is to weather it, so I'll show you how that works too. And the cardboard, and then that's it. And so the video kind of gives the instructions on how to assemble it, but in the next slide here, there's just a diagram of how to assemble it. So all of the pieces are numbered 1 through 6. This being number 1. Number 2 is this piece, and the order just means where you place it. So the colorful picture right there just kind of gives you an idea of where to place them. So 1 goes on the bottom, 2 goes on the top, and then we have 3 right there. Hope y'all can see that. Then we have 3 right there, and then 4 is the smaller star. Make sure this is the smaller star. Oh, there it is. The smaller star. So that one kind of goes a little bit on a diagonal. And then 5 is the larger star, and that goes on top of that. And then 6. And that's literally all it is to assemble it. And then this one is made out of cardboard, but you can absolutely make it out of craft foam like this to give it more stability. But yeah, I'm wearing one too, so it turns out to be pretty cool. And so I'll just kind of show you how to just glue it down. It's just we're just going to use a glue stick. Yeah, our trusty glue stick.
I don't have my pieces pre-cut, so I'm very self-conscious, and I'm just watching you do it instead.
Okay. You're fine. Yeah, it's very easy. So I'm just going to glue on the back. Oh, and just a little tip when you're cutting, after you cut out the pattern, just use the the outside of the box, that when you draw on it to mark where the cutting's gonna be. That way, of course, not
the side that you would paint on.
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't have the marks from the Sharpie or whatever you use for it. And so 1's down now, or 1 and 2 is down, so we're gonna do 3. And I'm looking at my shapes right now, and I could have definitely cut it better. But it's all fine.
That's okay. We can't tell from here, so.
Okay, good. That's good. So we're gonna do 4. Goes down like that.
I'm gonna spotlight your screen so we can see you a little bit better. Spotlight.
Okay. I might need some more light too. I don't know. Let me see if my assistant will grab me some light. And then we're gonna do 5. And then 6. Oh, good. It turned out better than I thought it did. So that's always a bonus, you know.
So this is cardboard, glue, scissors, and a YouTube video that already tells us how to do this all, and then all of 5 to 10 minutes putting it together.
It could not be any more simple, and it just turns out so cool looking. They did a really good job making this pattern. So there we go. This is it assembled. Can y'all see? Yep, there it is.
Fantastic.
It really is a really good pattern. So what I did for mine to fit on my head, since we don't usually have flat heads, is just kind of grab it from the middle and just kind of bend it, and then bend it in small sections. Like, don't like just, you know, but just kind of like easily bend it a little bit. That way we get some shape to it. And then I'm going to take my paint, and I'll show you how to kind of weather it too. So it's not just gold, but kind of has some dimension to it. Here's the box that I used to cut out this. So all recycled. I'm going to actually take some black first.
Okay.
Which you're probably like, wow, that's crazy. Why would you paint it black first? The black is to get into the crevices of the kind of where the lines are, and that gives it like a little bit more depth. That way it looks a little bit more realistic, like more like metal, because it's like, if it's all just gold, it kind of blends in. So the black will help it
find those ridges.
Yeah, ridges, yeah. Sorry, I was distracted because this, oh, there it goes. Of course it clumps out like as soon as I get it out.
You like making messes, that's fine.
I can't possibly not make a mess.
So not my house.
Yeah, I was only trying to get a little bit, but of course it all glopped out. But I'm gonna go along the ridges and kind of paint those black.
And the ridges are where the cardboard pieces that we laid down together are overlapping?
Yes, exactly. So I'm gonna try to get as little amount of paint I can. You can also, if you have like a sponge paintbrush, which I probably do, let me see. That might actually be easier. Yes, I do. So I'm gonna use a sponge. The other type of paintbrush will work, but this will help it get like a little bit less goopy. I don't know the proper term for that. Less goopy. But yeah, I'm trying to just follow where the natural streaks would be. And like, if you look at metal, usually it has streaks like that, like a bronze does.
Mm-hmm.
So this will just kind of give it like a very natural looking metal look, very weathered.
Hayley, I think your workstation is right behind your name in the corner of your box. Do you mind moving it a little closer to you?
Yes.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Okay, so we're just going in with black just for like some highlight. And if you're kind of heavy-handed, it's okay because the gold's going to go on top of it. And acrylic paint is washable, so if you're messy like me, you should be fine. Hoping y'all can see that better. Okay, and then it kind of, let me just pull it up to the screen. So this is like the first step. It just kind of
like on the ridges.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little bit crazy right now, but we're gonna go in with some gold. I just have some gold acrylic craft paint. Once again, I probably just wasted some, but that's okay. I'm gonna take the same brush. It's okay if the colors kind of blend in a little bit. And then I'm just gonna go right over the black. And as you can see, it kind of gives it more dimension. This gold's a metallic gold. So it has a really cool, like, metallic-y look to it. And if, like, you do it and then you don't like the way it looks, you can always paint over it. Paint more black if you want more dimension. Paint more gold if you think it's got too much black in it. This weathering technique is, like, so transferable to just about every project you can weather, because it just, like, the black underneath and then the color it needs to be, like the metallic color, it really just gives a lot of dimension. And I usually like to use a sponge, just because you're less likely to get paintbrush strokes and more likely for it to blend in a little bit better.
Good point. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So that's
wow.
Yeah, and that's just cardboard and paint. Like, it's nothing. it really
it's gold. Is. What are you talking about? That's real gold.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's like very inexpensive, but you don't need to go out and buy a gold Wonder Woman tiara. It's extremely easy to make.
So
I think,
cool.
Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite projects I found for how to make something inexpensive. And the same goes for gauntlets. Like, there's gauntlets tutorials out there.
I was gonna say, this is just one. There have to be so many on YouTube alone, let alone all the other places you've shared with us.
Right. Yeah. Like, there's, like, making stuff out of foam is so fascinating to me. It's not something I've, like, really dove into. Like people can make like full armor out of foam. It's incredible.
Cardboard too. I've seen some. Like the Cardboard Kingdom.
Right.
It's amazing what people can think of.
I know. Like, it's like the world's your limit. Like,
you're only limited by your imagination.
Exactly. I think that's, like, the coolest part of cosplay to me, because it gives me an opportunity to, like, exercise that imaginative part of my brain.
Most definitely. So I was going to circle back to a point that you made earlier. So before COVID, we were seeing cosplay at a lot of conventions, and I know locally you wouldn't know this, so I'm going to talk about this. I know in Fayetteville we've had more recently a Northwest Arkansas convention that took place in our town center that would allow you to see cosplay. If you didn't want to make it, you can still go to these conventions and see people and their awesome creations. And then we have a Harry Potter specific one called Wizard Way of the Ozarks that has a lot of witch and wizard costumes and cosplays, as well as costumes from the Harry Potter series. So there are local events that participants could go to once things have calmed down and it's safe to do so. I know a lot of those are having virtual events too. And you said that there's a resurgence of cosplay on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything you said is so true. Like, there's all sorts of conventions you can just find locally. And then, I've had conventions around me that's locally that turned to online, and then people would meet up in cosplay, like, from Zoom. So I think it's fun. It's like you don't really need to go anywhere as long as you just want to make the stuff. Like, there's usually an outlet to wear it to.
Yes. And Hayley, what would you say is the best thing about the cosplay community?
Oh, it's friendships. I feel like I've just made, like, met so many really nice people that share the same passion of, like, books and movies that I love. It's kind of like you're putting your favorite movie out there or your favorite book out there. It's like, I am dressed as this character, so I like this thing. And then you see someone who's wearing the same type of character or same type of movie you're from. You're like, hey, let's be friends because we obviously like the same thing. So I think friendships is the coolest part of cosplay to me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing this awesome project and presentation with us. It's been really cool. And I know as an amateur cosplayer, I would definitely consider myself a sub-amateur, whatever the lowest form is, that there are ways that you can do this that you don't need an extensive knowledge. I know you and Michael have that extensive knowledge, but I think this, like anything else, is something that you can learn and grow and adapt over time.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it is. It's like practice. It's like just get out. It's like, if you fail, don't give up, keep going. If it's frustrating, and it can be sometimes, put it away and then come back to it. It's give yourself time and give yourself, like, except that you won't be perfect right away. Everyone is a beginner. Like everyone is learning. So it's like you don't have to, there's no pressure to it. It's all, if it's not fun, then it's like there's no point. So it's like it's
Right.
just has to be fun. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Hayley, thank you. And where can viewers see all your awesome cosplays?
Oh my goodness. Just my Instagram is usually just called Hobbit Party.
The best Hobbit party.
And then yeah, if anyone ever wants to venture over to our library's Instagram, I usually do some stuff for them too, and it's Imaginon is the branch where a lot of our teen and children's programs are. So Imaginon, I will say that a lot of stuff is over there too.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that you're like thousands of followers invested in Instagram and TikTok. So if you're not following Hayley Burson, Hobbit Party, you're missing out.
Wow. You're too sweet, Jim. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us. And thank you all for watching this video of Teens Create. We will have a lot more of these videos available for you, including Michael Burson's Intro to Sewing class coming up later this month. But be sure to check out our web calendar, faylib.org/SRC, for all things summer reading. It is not too late to sign up for summer reading. We want you to keep track of what you're reading this summer, and we want you to be rewarded for it too. So be sure to log in and sign up there. And again, Hayley Burson, thank you so much. It's been awesome. Always great to talk to you.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, have a great day and a great summer reading. Bye.
Bye.